Joining me right now to help connect the dots is Ohio Congressman Jim Jordan. He is the ranking member on the House Judiciary Committee. Congressman, good to see you. Thanks very much for being here. I want to get your take on all of this. Is Hunter on the verge of being indicted? What would that mean for his father, President Joe Biden?
Yeah, well, I don't know. That's the short answer, but it sure seems that way. I mean, you mentioned those two stories from the Washington Post 10 days ago. Understand they were 4 minutes apart. One was at 11, one was at 11:04. So two 8-page long stories, 4 minutes apart from the news organization that said 18 months ago there was no story here. This was Russian disinformation. That tells you something is up. You don't see the Washington Post do that. I think it's interesting, too, Maria, how this story has evolved, how it has changed. Remember, it started off as, oh, it wasn't his laptop. Then it was, well, it was his laptop, but it was Russian disinformation. Now it's, no, it wasn't Russian disinformation, but Joe had nothing to do with it. And now finally it is, well, Joe had something to do with it, but he really didn't do anything wrong. In fact, that's what his chief of staff, Ron Klain, told us last Sunday on the Sunday show. So how this story has changed. And now we find out these text messages and emails that link the entire family, not just Hunter and Joe, but also Uncle, Joe's brother, James Biden, is involved in this as well.
Yeah, I mean, last weekend we showed many in the media who tried to help Joe cover it up right before the election, like Chris Wallace, who interrupted President Trump when Trump was saying, look, he took $3.5 million from the Moscow mayor's wife. And Chris Wallace said, wait, no, we're not going to go there. We have more important matters to discuss. Or John Harwood over at CNN doing the same thing. But let me get into some of these emails and get your take on it. First of all, we all know of the infamous May 13th, 2017 Tony Bobulinski email, which says the big guy, we are talking about the CEFC deal where they were all talking about who gets what equity. And in that email, it says 20 for Hunter, 20% for Hunter, and 10 held by H for the big guy. And then this morning in the New York Post, we've got more emails that indicate Hunter Biden was complaining to his daughter, Naomi, saying, well, you know, be happy that I'm not asking you. I'm not forcing you to give me half your salary. After all, I've been paying the bills for the family for 30 years. That is the dots that we are connecting, because while Hunter was taking in all of this money from foreign officials, Peter Schweitzer says $31 million alone from China, he was paying the family bills. So that tells you that this is likely a Joe Biden story, not a Hunter Biden story. Your reaction to this text that Hunter sent to his daughter, I hope you all can do what I did and pay for everything for this entire family for 30 years. It's really hard. But don't worry, unlike Pop, I won't make you give me half your salary.
Yeah. Now, a couple things. One, it sure looks like Joe Biden was involved. This was a family operation, including his uncle, as I said before. Second, remember what Joe Biden said in the debates 18 months ago. He said he didn't do anything wrong, and Hunter wasn't taking money from business interests with connections to China. There are 4.8 million reasons why that statement Joe Biden made was not accurate, because we know he took $4.8 million from CEFC, the Chinese energy company. So, yeah, this ties in the entire family. The thing that bothers me the most, though, Maria, is the conspiracy. The left always says, oh, there's these right-wing conspiracy. The real conspiracy here was the Democrats, big tech, big media, keeping this story from the American people just days before the most important election we have. Election for president of the United States, election for who's going to be the commander-in-chief, and you have a family involved with all kinds of foreign business interests, and we don't get to hear that story. And maybe the worst of it all was what 51 former intelligence officials did. That letter they wrote where they said, this has all the earmarks of a Russian disinformation campaign. That letter became the basis for big tech and big media to suppress this story and keep it from we the people in the run-up to our most important election. That's why we sent a letter to these 51 guys. We want to know who they were talking to, how they came to this conclusion, how they put that letter together, because that was the basis for the conspiracy that kept information from the voters right up before the presidential election.
Yeah, we're showing your letter on screen right now, and we also have the New York Post headline, Spies Who Lie, with the faces of all of those. Right front and center is John Brennan and James Clapper. on the cover of the New York Post there who lied and said that it was Russian disinformation. Let's just be clear, Jim Jordan, these guys were key officials in the CIA and the other intelligence agencies. They would have known that this was not Russian disinformation when they signed their name, correct?
Maria, this is it's a great point. This is what makes this so wrong and so bad. This is no different than when Adam Schiff 3 years ago came forward and said, "Oh, there is more than circumstantial evidence that President Trump colluded with Russia." We didn't think that statement was accurate at the time, but when the chairman of the Intelligence Committee goes on TV and makes that statement, he gets briefings that the American people don't get. Frankly, he gets briefings that even I, as a member of Congress, don't get. So when he says something like that, there is added weight, added emphasis put on that. Same thing with these 51 former intelligence officials. When they come out with a statement like this, you're thinking, wow, these are guys who were supposed to be in the know. They were in the know when they were in the government. And so there's added weight to that. But when they mislead us, that makes it all the more wrong. And that's why we got to get to the bottom of this, because it's happened more than once now. And this is not supposed to be that way in our great country.
And that is why this program, by the way, has been so successful, because our viewers know they are going to get the truth. They are going to hear it straight. So when those 51 people signed that letter, I picked up the phone and called a sitting director of national intelligence, John Ratcliffe. And it was October of 2020 when Ratcliffe told us this.
Let me be clear. The intelligence community doesn't believe that because there's no intelligence that supports that. And we have shared no intelligence with Chairman Schiff or any other member of Congress that Hunter Biden's laptop is part of some Russian disinformation campaign. It's simply not true.
So, Jim Jordan, the question becomes, you are an elected official. You are the ranking member on the Judiciary Committee. I assume that means you are going to be the chairman of the Judiciary Committee should the GOP take the majority in November. What are you going to do about this?
Well, we got to investigate a number of things. This certainly needs to be investigated. And I just want to point out, Maria, you called John Ratcliffe because you were doing real journalism. You weren't just taking the line from 51 former intel officials and running with the Democrat narrative. So thank you for doing that. This was a conspiracy with big tech, big media, those 51 former intelligence officials and the Democrat Party. And that's what the American people now fully understand. But yeah, we will investigate this issue and a host of others, frankly. If the American people put us back in power, I think we owe it to them to get them the truth on the DOJ spying on parents, on Dr. Fauci misleading the country about where this COVID started, on the chaos on our southern border, and of course this story about Hunter Biden and the Biden family profiting off of foreign interests and keeping that information from the American people.
Before you go, Congressman, I got to ask you, Ron Johnson last week said it wasn't just the Biden family lying, it was the media lying, but it was also the FBI. Was the FBI complicit in all of this? We're still trying to understand FBI's role in the Russia collusion lie. What about this?
Yeah, I don't know. That's something that we need to fully understand. I do know that the FBI has done some things that have concerned me greatly, particularly when it comes to the FISA court, as pointed out by the Inspector General Michael Horowitz. So, yeah, I've got some concerns there. I don't know specifically if that happened, but we need to get to the bottom of not only this scandal, but so many others.
Yep. Anything you want to say about the wide open border, Congressman, real quick before we go? Title 42 is going away next month.
1.7 illegal immigrants crossed our border in 1 year's time, 14 months' time under this administration. They're only going to make the problem worse. And frankly, you can't have it both ways. You can't say COVID is so serious still that we need billions of more dollars of American tax money and at the same time say we're getting rid of Title 42, which is the only thing keeping a chaotic situation from getting worse.
Unbelievable. Jim Jordan, good to see you. Thanks very much for joining us this morning.
Thank you.